Hi friends, in this video we are going to see in detail about BluePrism Debugging. In debugging both Process Studio and Object Studio. So debugging means to test the code or process like on a step by step. As an RPA developer, so we do this testing called like a white box testing, similar to an application developer. So for this one, I'm going to create one business object. And again I'm going to create one process here. Debugging business process. And now I opened Process Studio. So here you can see the debugging options. So like run, pause, step out, step over, step out, reset, like process validation, breakpoints. So will all fall under like so debugging parts. And you can see the same toolbar in Object Studio. First, let me define one business object. So now the application is open. Here let me define like one action. So rename it. Launch application. Then let me define one more action here. Close application. So to launch and close an application, obviously we'll go for like a navigate stage. Let me assign a name for this one, launch. Application. So drag and drop the root one and select launch, then OK. So link the stages. So reset it, then go to like close application action, drag and drop navigate stage, close application, and drag and drop the root one and choose terminate, link all stages. And before it's available to process, so we need to publish. If you observe here, the icon is appeared. So when we publish, save it. Let me run it like page by page. So the application is open, and run another action. Now the application is closed. Now I'm going back to Process Studio. So to bring that business objects from Object Studio to Process Studio, we'll use the action stage. Launch. Then select business object. And then choose an action like a launch application. And repeat the same procedure for other action too. Close application. Select debugging business object. Close an application. Then link it. So reset it and then run it. So it's working fine. So far, I have created one business object. And I brought the business object into Process Studio. And to work with debugging options, so I'm creating one page in Process Studio. So I'm assigning a name for this one. So debugging. I'm taking everything from main page to other page. Like a debugging page to main page using page reference dash. Then link it, then run it. So in Process Studio, if you run it, it always starts from start stage in the main page and then will ends in the main page. The debug toolbar contains play, and again in play we can select three modes, three running modes: normal, slow, and faster. And we can keep the slider while process is running. We can keep the slider anywhere in between these three stages or three modes. You can see here like a fast, normal, and slow. So if we click on go, the process will start from start stage and will ends in end stage. And if you want, you can pause it in between while it is running. And the next one, step, step over and step out. So if you observe here, whenever process runs, they will become like disabled, grayed out. So if you press a reset button, then it will become like enable. Next we'll select what is step. The step option by pressing this step option or button, the process will move one action at a time. If I press this one, you can see it's started from here, and if I click on here, it's moving to another action or another stage. If I click on here, it's opened Object Studio, and again if I click on here, the object is running, and again if you click on continue, so we'll call one stage or one action at a time. Step over. So if we press this button, the process will move forward one stage at a time. Even if the stage contains any coding inside, so it won't care, will move forward. So reset it, then click on step over. And within this stage there is programming, but it's moving forward. So reset it and then step out. If we press this button, so we'll execute the entire process at a time. So reset it and then use step out. It's done. Means we'll use this step over and step out options for debugging the code. Means testing. So we'll call a white box testing. So we can call a white box testing means a unit testing or integration testing. So reset it and then let me add one more page. So copy the code, then paste it here. Then go to main page. Here I am linking the debugging 1 page to main page. So link it and then run it. Right now I use play button or go button. When I press go button, will always starts from the start stage and then it's sending in end stage. So reset it. If I press this button, it's moved to another stage, and then it's moved within this page, a debugging page. So reset it. If you press like a step over, we can't switch to Object Studio. We'll reside in Process Studio only. See, if I click on here, see it's moved to like another one stage, and press once again, then it's moved to like another stage. It's done. Suppose if I did any mistake intentionally here, if I delete this, see I have deleted this link, then reset it, and then if I click on step over, it is saying like a fail, that internal exception. So link it, and then if you press this button like step out, will execute entire process at a time. Okay, now we'll see the difference between Process Studio and Object Studio towards debugging. In Object Studio, we can run the debugging options for one page, so at a time. If I press this go button, so it's run. So reset it. If I press this button, so it's in one page only. But whereas in Process Studio, we'll start from the main page and then we'll end in main page only. Then if I click on step over, you can reset it. Right. So reset it, and then if I press this one, step out. So it's done. And go to another action. So reset it. If I press this one, reset it and then run it. So application is open. So go to close application action. So reset it, and then if you click on here, step is closed. And the major difference between Process Studio and Object Studio is here we can use step over and step out options for individual actions. So the debugging differences between Process Studio and Object Studio are flow starting point. In Object Studio, when we press start, the debugger will not jump to the start stage on the first page, but will jump to the start stage on the current page only. Next difference is flow endpoint. So when we press the start button, the flow ends on the same page in a business object. So now I'm in Process Studio. If I press this step button, so we'll execute one code and then it's moving to another action or a stage. We'll call like a unit testing. To test this one, like a step by piece call like a unit testing, and then we can use this one for integration testing. Step out, we'll execute the step out and step over are used for like an integration testing. So we'll call like a white box testing in BluePrism RPA. Thank you. We can use breakpoints for debugging purpose. By using breakpoints, we can stop the process wherever you want. It's also part of like debugging. If you give a right mouse click on anywhere on the stage, and then you can see we can insert like breakpoint, and then if you run it, the process will stop at the point. And you can see we can insert like multiple breakpoints in one page or in one process, but whereas they won't affect in production environment. Okay, we'll see that part also. Let me insert like multiple breakpoints here. Okay, breakpoints. Using breakpoints, we can stop the process or pause the process. So wherever we want to test. And similar to like a set next stage. Is also part of debugging. So using this one, so we can execute within a process. So we can execute where anywhere in the process, and we'll ignore the previous coding or whatever the programming inside like before that. Now I have inserted like two breakpoints here. Let me insert like some more breakpoints. Then reset it, save it, then publish it. So we can publish from the main page only, from page information stage, so or process information stage, and OK, then reset it, then go to control room. Now I am assigning this task to machine. So highlight it and then run it. The process is done. Give a right mouse click and you can view the process. Here you can see like breakpoints. Means the robot or a machine will ignore the breakpoints even if you insert in a process. Okay. Anyway, thank you.